What's up, everybody? Thanks for checking out this video. Today is Jeff White, and I would love to hear what some people think about what I'm going to talk about. I think it's very important. And let me preface this by saying I do not watch mainstream news. I stopped watching mainstream news about 2 years ago, maybe three, because it's too negative, and they talk about the same thing over and over and over. I personally think it's very divisive, very one sided, and manipulated. And I think they try to direct you or cause you to think a certain way. And that really bothers me. Um, that's just my personal opinion. So, what I do is I will, if I scroll on my phone and I see a news story, I can click on it and read it if I want. And if I see the headline that doesn't interest me, I can keep scrolling. See, when you watch the news, someone is actually literally talking to you and telling you, what you should be focused on. The way I do it, I can read a headline on my phone or my computer, and if I don't like it, I can just keep moving. And a lot of times you can tell by the headline what the article is about. So I'm up to date on what's going on in the world. I just don't, I can filter how much of it I really want to read and see. So now, what I do is I get my news from alternative sources. And when I say alternative, I'm also referring to news from other countries because unfortunately, America seems to have it seems as though we think that the world revolves around us, and our news is slanted toward the American view. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that, but at the same time, you got to have that balance. You got to know what's going on outside of, your circle, which in this case is America. So I saw a couple articles that I thought were very interesting that I think can really be important to Americans because again, there are some things they don't talk about here in America that people should know about. And one thing that I think people should really be focused on is food shortages. Food shortages is a problem. Now, you can go to the grocery store today and you can say, well, I know prices are going up, but I still see a lot of stuff on the shelves. I may see, a couple of things here or there that are missing, but eventually it gets replenished. Well, here's the problem with that, though. When it comes to supply chains, there is a delayed effect. So something that's going on 6 months ago, you're feeling the effects of that today. And the things that are going on today, you won't feel for 3 to 6 months down the road. It's almost like a storm. You can see the lightning in the distance, but you don't hear the thunder for 15, 20, 30 seconds. So what does that mean? You know the storm is coming, it's just far away. Well, I think our supply shortages or our supply or food shortage issues are a ways away, but they're coming. And let me tell you why I say that. And I'm going to put the links to these articles I'm talking about in the description of this video so you can see exactly what I'm talking about. All right, first, China. China in November came out and told their citizens to start stocking up on foods now. China told their citizens to start stocking up on food because of food shortages over the winter. That's huge. They told their people, you better start stocking up on food right now. How can you imagine the U.S. telling people to stock up on food? That would be chaos, I believe. But then again, they will never tell us to do that. What they'll do is say everything is fine, when all you got to do is take a real good look around and see everything is not fine. But they told their people to do that. All right, that's number one. Number two, in China, they're stocking up on grains, rice, and corn. They're stocking up and they're buying it. And now I believe China is holds more than half of the world's grain reserves. Think about that for a second. China has more than half of the world's grain reserves. That's huge. They are literally stocking up. How many people have heard this story in mainstream news? You don't see that every day. We're talking about other stuff. And, you know, people need to know this. I'd rather you know than not know. That way, if you know something, then you can decide what to do with the information. So I'm just sharing this because I think it's very important. I'm going to explain it too. So that's number one. And that's two things actually. China told their citizens to start stocking up on food, and then China itself, the country, is buying grains, and they have more grains in reserve than anyone else in the world. As a matter of fact, what they do is, I believe they have a year and a half worth of grains for their people. That's huge. That is the ultimate in prepping. That's huge. We don't hear that in mainstream media. That's number one. Or that's number two. All right. Another thing is the World Economic Forum came out and said people should start getting used to eating weeds and bugs. And I literally had to read that a couple times, but they are saying people should get used to eating weeds and bugs because they're saying they're nutritious and weeds are good for the environment. I don't know about you guys, but I'm not eating no bugs. I'm not doing it. Now, of course, if I had no choice, aha, that's it right there. If I had no choice, I will probably have to eat a couple crickets or whatever, but that's nothing I don't want to do. So let me ask you something. Think about what I just said. I said I don't want to eat no crickets. I'm not trying to do that. That does not interest me in the least. But if I had to, I would. So let's take a step back. China told their people to start stocking up on food. China is buying grains and and corn and rice, and they have more in reserve than anyone else in the world. The World Economic Forum is telling people to start eating weeds and bugs. Okay? And then there's another article, and again, I'm going to post this, and it's coming out of Europe. So check this out. So this article is in Bloomberg, and it came out in December 2021. Bloomberg, that is a reputable news source, right? Bloomberg has an article, and it says, coming soon. Burgers made out of mealworms, maggots, crickets, and beetles. Fake burgers made out of crickets, maggots, beetles. This is in Bloomberg, people. What they do is they put out these stories. They put them out in advance so you can get it in your mind, so it can get into your psychosis. And it's in there, so it won't be much of a shock when it is finally released sometime in the future. So what they do is they're prepping you for what's coming in the future. Fake burgers with mealworms, maggots, crickets, and beetles. We have a major food shortage problem coming. They're just not coming out and saying it. Okay? And this story is for people in Europe, telling them to get used to that. It's coming. So when you put all of this together, it lets you know that something is not right. But this won't be seen in mainstream media. We are in a world of trouble, and people are not paying attention. And now is the time that you must start stocking up on food, water, medicine, and other things. Now is the time, because one day we're going to wake up and like, what in the world is going on? And the whole world is going to be changed. And no one's going to come to save you. They're not. As you can see, I live in the United States. We're not told to do anything. We're not told about prepping. Everything seems to be okay. It's not okay. All you got to do is take a look. You can look at the supply chain disruption. You can see prices going up on all types of things. I'm not going to talk about this tonight, but um, there's fertilizer problems, natural gas problems, all types of problems that can hurt the food chain, that can hurt feeding livestock, which in the end comes back to us eating that certain livestock. And so everybody needs to pay attention. And like I said, I'm gonna put the links here, but it's very concerning to me that this is not being discussed as much as it should be. But people really need to start paying attention and doing something to take care of themselves. And another thing China does is they've been buying gold by the ton. They have been buying tons and tons of gold for the last couple of years, and that's not being discussed in mainstream media either. So why are they buying gold? Why are they telling people to stock up on food? Why are they buying grains? Why is the World Economic Forum telling people to start eating weeds and bugs? Why are fake meat companies in Europe, and it's been approved in Europe for crickets and beetles and things of that nature to be sold? People, pay attention. We have some major food issues coming, and it's not being discussed in mainstream news. So what you got to start doing right now is stocking up on the foods that you like and that you eat. Now, when I say stock up, I'm not saying going out and buying 5 pounds of hamburger and putting in your freezer. Because to be honest with you, if we have some type of power outage, and we've seen power outages um, here and there, and even in the United States, over the last year and a half. I can't imagine having a freezer full of meat and the power's out for 3 or 4 days. That would drive me crazy. But you can buy canned foods, canned goods, canned meats, and store them because you never know what it's going to look like in 3 to 6 to 9 months. Now's the time to start stocking up little by little, bit by bit. It's very important. And I'm gonna say one last thing, and I'm gonna shut this down. A couple weeks ago, I finished a 5-day water fast, and when I do these fasts, um, it don't not only does it help me physically, it helps me mentally also. And sometimes I don't really see how it helped me until a day or two, maybe even a week later. And it helped me mentally in a way where I'm tired of social media. I'm tired of it because when I look and see what I see on social media, I see a lot of wasted time and energy on social media. I'm looking for social media now for me to get more information I can use to benefit me, physically, mentally, spiritually, and financially. And I see a lot of arguing. I see a lot of opinionated people who don't want to hear other sides, other opposing views. I love listening to different viewpoints because that's how I grow as a person. If I had to listen to everyone who thought like me, I would go crazy because I think a certain way, but I don't grow just by looking at people who think like me. I need to hear some other perspectives. I don't see that as much as I would like. The cancel culture is out of control. People are getting their channels removed off of YouTube and other social media platforms. I may not even agree with those people or like those people. It's the fact of being removed that bothers me because one day they could do that to me. Someone could say, I don't like what this guy's saying. I don't like his shirt. I don't like his voice. He said something that offended me. I mean, give me a break. And so I'm really tired of it. I use social media to promote my businesses. And honestly, if I didn't have those, I think I would just try to just get off social media. I'm to the point now, I want to get off the grid, literally, where I'm just like off social media. But that's a whole nother topic. But I think social media is a blessing and a curse. But for a lot of people, they're using it not in the best way that they could or should. It can be a great way to get information. And I get the entertainment. I have no problem with entertainment. But at the same time, we're not getting useful information that can really help us. And I think it's used as a distraction and is used to keep people in the dark because there's a lot going on in the world and really concerns me that it's not being talked about. And what aggravates me is it seems as though some people are fine not even knowing what's going on. It's almost like they don't care. And if you try to talk to them, then they like, man, you crazy. You out there. But they're not even trying to hear it. So it really turns me off. But anyway, I'm starting to ramble, but I really want people to basically start stocking up, start preparing, because something is going on. You can feel it, you can sense it. You might not even know or understand what's going on, but you know something isn't right in the world. You see these prices going up. You see all the chaos in the world and these restrictions and lockdowns. For what? For what? There's a bigger plan in place. It's bigger than, um, the health issue that they're referring to. It's so much bigger than that. It's more about control. And unfortunately, people are not paying attention to it. But again, I would love to hear what you think. I would love to hear some comments. I would love to hear people who agree or disagree. Tell me what you think. We need to have a dialogue about this, and we need to have a community of people who who see what's going on and are preparing for it. No matter if you're like advanced prepper, been into it 10, 15, 20 years, or someone who's just getting started. We all need to come together and help each other, because there's some things going on in the world that are not pretty. It's not being discussed. But when it's finally out in the open, it's going to be too late if you haven't started preparing. So anyway, let me know what you guys think. Um, the world is crazy. It's getting crazy out here, but it's not being discussed. It's not mainstream, and most people are not paying attention, and they're going to be blindsided when everything comes out. So get you some food, people. Start prepping. Start putting some food away little by little, bit by bit, because you'll be so glad you did. All right, guys, that's it for tonight. Take care. Peace.